Welcome to Auntie Rose Narrates. Before today's story of betrayal and self-discovery, please subscribe and hit like to help these stories be heard. Drop your city or country in the comments. It always warms my heart. Now let's begin. I buried my husband 6 months ago. Yesterday, I saw him at the grocery store. Even saying that feels wrong, like the words do not belong together. I have repeated it in my head all night, hoping it would make sense, but it never does. It just sits there, heavy and impossible, like a truth my heart refuses to accept. It was a normal afternoon at Costco. Bright lights, wide aisles, the quiet hum of freezers and shopping carts rolling across smooth floors. I was standing between shelves of canned food, holding a bottle of olive oil, thinking about nothing important. Just dinner, just the quiet house waiting for me when I went home. Then I saw him. At first, my mind rejected it. Grief can do strange things. Loneliness can create pictures that feel real. But this was not a picture. This was a man standing a few aisles away, holding a shopping cart, leaning forward slightly as he read the small print on a can. Just like Walter always did. My chest tightened so suddenly I could not breathe. He reached for a can of pinto beans and turned it in his hand, checking the price. Time slowed, as if the world itself was holding its breath. There, between shelves stacked with metal cans, was my husband. The man I buried. The man I watched slip away in a hospital room that smelled of disinfectant and quiet sorrow. The man resting in an Italian marble crypt that cost $90,000 because I wanted him to have dignity, even in death. Walter. My fingers went numb, and the bottle of olive oil slipped from my hand. It shattered on the floor, and golden oil spread across the white linoleum. People gasped. Someone spoke behind me. I did not turn around. I did not care. My legs moved before my mind could catch up. I ran. I had not run like that in years. My body is older now, slower, heavier, but something stronger than age pushed me forward. Grief gave me strength. Hope gave me speed. Walter. I screamed. My voice came out broken, tangled with a sob that rose from deep inside my chest. Walter, my God, you're alive. He turned, and when his eyes met mine, the world tilted beneath my feet. It was him. The same scar on his left eyebrow from when he fell off his motorcycle at 20. The same crooked nose broken in a bar fight he never liked to talk about. The same small birthmark on his neck that I knew better than my own reflection. I opened my arms and stepped toward him, ready to touch him, ready to feel his warmth and prove this was real. But he stepped back. "I'm sorry, ma'am," he said, that voice. The same rough warmth, the same calm rhythm, the voice that read scripture to me when my mother died, the voice that whispered jokes during church services when we were young. "I think you've mistaken me for someone else." The words hit harder than any blow. I stared at him, waiting for confusion to turn into laughter, waiting for him to say my name. But his face stayed polite and distant. "My husband," I whispered. "Walter, it's me." His eyebrows drew together slightly, like a stranger trying to understand. "I'm truly sorry," he said again, "but I don't know you." My knees nearly gave out. A store worker came over, asking if everything was okay. Walter nodded. I shook my head as tears spilled down my face. Then he walked away. I did not follow him. I could not move. I stood there shaking while the spill was cleaned and people stared and life went on as if nothing had happened. That night, sleep did not come. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him alive, breathing, holding that can of beans. By morning, one thought was clear. Dead men do not shop for groceries. My name is Ruth Johnson. I am 64 years old. I am a Black woman born in Georgia and living in Ohio. I was married to Walter Johnson for 42 years. Or at least I believed I was. We built our life slowly, paycheck by paycheck. We raised 2 children. We prayed together. Walter was a quiet man who believed in showing up and fixing things instead of replacing them. I trusted him with my whole heart. 6 months ago, he collapsed. The sickness came fast. Hospital lights, careful doctors, machines humming softly. I held his hand when the machines went quiet. I signed the papers. I chose the casket. I stood at the grave while dirt covered the man I loved. After the funeral, the house felt too big and too silent. His shoes stayed by the door. His mug stayed by the sink. People told me time would help. I believed them because I had no choice. The morning after Costco, I went back. I told myself it was foolish, but my feet carried me there anyway. I walked the aisle slowly, searching faces, waiting for my heart to stop again. I did not see him. I remembered something then. Walter hated Costco. He always said it was too big, too crowded. That thought stayed with me all day. 2 days later, I saw him again. This time, I followed him. He walked calmly to his car, a dark blue sedan I did not recognize. I followed at a distance, my hands shaking on the steering wheel. He drove to a quiet neighborhood and parked in a driveway. He unlocked the door and stepped inside like he belonged there. That night, memories whispered questions I could no longer ignore. The late nights, the quiet phone calls, the rushed burial, the sealed casket. The next morning, I returned to that house. I watched as a woman and a young boy came out. They laughed together before driving away. A family lived there. I walked up to the porch and knocked. When the door opened, Walter stood there, alive and breathing. "My name is Ruth," I said softly. "I believe you are my husband." Silence filled the space between us, and in that silence, my heart began to break open. I stood there on that porch longer than felt reasonable. My hand still raised from knocking, my heart beating so hard I could hear it in my ears. Walter looked at me like a man trying to solve a puzzle he had never seen before. His eyes moved over my face slowly, carefully, as if something about me felt familiar but dangerous to touch. "I'm sorry," he said again, softer this time. "I think you have the wrong person." The door was still open behind him. I could see into the house. Clean floors, neutral colors, a framed picture on the wall of a woman and a little boy smiling at the camera. My stomach tightened at the sight. "I know this sounds impossible," I said, forcing my voice to stay calm. "But I buried you 6 months ago." His expression changed. Not anger, not fear, something closer to unease. "That's not funny," he said quietly. "I'm not joking," I replied. "I stood at your grave. I paid for your burial. I watched dirt cover your casket." He stepped back slightly, as if my words carried weight he did not want near him. "I think you should leave," he said. "You're upsetting me." "I won't cause trouble," I said quickly. "I just need answers, please." For a long moment, he said nothing. Then he looked down the street, as if checking whether anyone was watching. He sighed. 5 minutes, he said. "That's all I can give you." He stepped aside and let me in. The house smelled unfamiliar. Clean, but not like home. No trace of the cologne Walter used to wear. No sound of a ticking clock he loved. Just quiet. He gestured toward a chair at the small kitchen table. I sat. My hands trembled in my lap. "You say your name is Ruth?" he said, sitting across from me. "My name is Walter Miller." The last name hit me like ice water. "No," I whispered. "Your name is Walter Johnson." He shook his head slowly. "It has never been Johnson." I studied his face, searching for a crack, for guilt, for recognition. But he looked tired, confused, and deeply uncomfortable. "How long have you lived here?" I asked. 3 years, he said. "And before that?" I pressed. He hesitated. I don't see how that's any of your business. Because I've been married to you for 42 years, I said. Because I know things about you no stranger should know. He leaned back in his chair, crossing his arms. This is getting out of hand. Your mother's name was Evelyn, I said. She burned cornbread every Thanksgiving and laughed about it. You used to fix her radio every Sunday. You lost her ring once and cried in the garage because you thought you'd failed her. His jaw tightened. You have a scar on your left eyebrow from falling off your motorcycle, I continued. You broke your nose in a bar fight you never wanted to talk about. You hate the color orange, but you wore it once to make me laugh. His eyes flickered. Just for a second, stop, he said quietly. You hum when you're nervous, I said. You fold towels the wrong way. You pray silently before eating, even in restaurants. He stood up abruptly, chair scraping against the floor. That's enough, he said. I don't know who you are, but this needs to end. Tears blurred my vision. Then explain how I know you? He turned away, running a hand over his head. I don't have an explanation, he said, but I am not your husband. At that moment, the front door opened. The woman I had seen earlier stepped inside, grocery bags in her arms. The boy followed behind her, chattering about something small and joyful. They stopped when they saw me. Who is this? The woman asked, her voice cautious. Walter swallowed. She thinks she knows me. The woman looked at me carefully, her eyes sharp but not cruel. Do you? She asked. I'm his wife, I said softly. Silence filled the room again, heavier than before. The woman's lips pressed together. My name is Denise, she said, and this is my husband. Husband. The word echoed inside me like a bell. Denise set the groceries down slowly. I think you should leave, she said, though her voice held uncertainty. I will, I said, but I'm not lying. The boy looked between us, confusion written across his face. Walter glanced at him, then back at me. I'm sorry, he said, and this time, his voice cracked. I stood up on shaky legs. So am I. Outside, the air felt colder. I walked back to my car and sat there for a long time, staring at the steering wheel. My heart felt split down the middle, torn between grief and disbelief. Over the next few days, I became someone I barely recognized. I checked records, death certificates, hospital bills. Everything pointed to Walter being dead, but the man I saw breathed, walked, lived. I visited the cemetery. I stood at the grave and placed my hand on the stone with his name carved deep into the marble. I whispered his name and waited for something to happen. Nothing did. I spoke to the funeral director. He offered sympathy and paperwork. He assured me there had been no mistake, but mistakes do not walk through grocery stores at night. Memories replayed themselves differently. I remembered Walter leaving the room to take phone calls. I remembered him coming home late, distracted. I remembered how quickly everything moved once he collapsed. I started to wonder if I had buried a stranger. One afternoon, my daughter called. Mama, you don't sound right, she said. I'm fine, I lied. I did not tell my children. Not yet. Some truths feel too sharp to hand to those you love. Days later, I received a letter in the mail. No return address. Just my name written carefully on the envelope. Inside was a single piece of paper. I didn't plan for you to find me, but now that you have, we need to talk. Please don't come back to my house. Meet me at the park on Elm Street tomorrow at noon. My hands shook as I read it. The next day, I sat on a bench at the park, watching leaves fall slowly from trees. When Walter approached, he looked older than I remembered. Tired. I didn't want Denise or my son to hear this, he said. Sitting beside me, your son, I repeated. He nodded. I didn't die, he said. But I did disappear. The words felt unreal. Why? I asked, He stared straight ahead. Because I was drowning. I waited. I loved you, he said. But I didn't know how to live the life I had anymore. My chest ached. I didn't plan the collapse, he continued. But when it happened, I saw a way out. Someone helped me. New name, new records. A clean break. You let me bury you, I said. He closed his eyes. Yes, I felt something inside me go quiet. I mourned you, I said. I begged God to bring you back. I know, he whispered. You watched me bury an empty casket. I asked. He nodded. The wind rustled the trees above us. I never wanted to hurt you, he said. But you did, I replied. We sat there in silence. Two people sharing a history that no longer fit into the present. I can't undo what I've done, he said. But I wanted you to hear the truth. I looked at him one last time, memorizing the face I once loved. I did hear it, I said, and it changed everything. I stood up and walked away, leaving him on that bench, surrounded by falling leaves and choices he could never take back. As I drove home, I realized something painful and clear. The man I buried was gone, but the man who lived had chosen a life without me. And that truth hurt more than death ever could. I drove home that day in silence, my hands steady on the wheel, even though my chest felt hollow. The park disappeared behind me, but the weight of what Walter had said stayed pressed against my ribs. I had buried a man who chose to disappear. I had mourned someone who was not dead, only gone by choice. That truth sat heavier than grief ever had. When I reached my house, I did not turn on the lights right away. I stood in the doorway, listening to the quiet. The same quiet that had comforted me in the months after the funeral now felt different. It felt dishonest, like it had been built on a lie. I walked through each room slowly. The living room where Walter used to nap on Sunday afternoons. The kitchen where he always stood too close when I cooked. The bedroom where his side of the bed stayed untouched, exactly as I left it. I sat down on the edge of that bed and pressed my hands into the mattress, as if it might still remember him. That night, I did not cry. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every memory through a new lens. The late nights, the sudden distance, the way he avoided my eyes near the end. I had called it stress. I had called it aging. I had called it life. I never called it escape. In the morning, my sister phoned. Her voice was warm, familiar. Ruth, I had a dream about Walter last night, she said gently. My throat tightened. Did you? He was smiling, she said. Like he always did when he thought he'd gotten away with something. The words made my hands tremble. I miss him, she added softly. So do I said, and hung up before my voice could betray me. That day, I pulled out boxes I had not opened since the funeral. Papers, old letters, photos. I needed to see my life clearly now, without the soft blur of grief protecting me. I laid everything out on the dining table like evidence. There were photos from our early years. 2 young black kids smiling too wide, believing love was enough to solve everything. Photos from our children's graduations, family holidays, church events. In every picture, Walter's smile was careful, controlled. I had always thought that was just his way. Now, I wondered what he had been hiding behind it. At the bottom of one box, I found a small notebook. I recognized it immediately. Walter's handwriting covered the pages, dates, numbers, notes that made no sense at first glance. Phone numbers I did not recognize. Names I did not know. My heart sank as I realized what it was. Preparation. He had planned his disappearance. I sat there for hours, reading, touching the ink like it might burn me. At some point, the sun shifted and shadows stretched across the table, but I did not move. Each page felt like another goodbye. He never said out loud. That evening, my son came by. He had a key. He always knocked anyway. Mama, he called. In the dining room, I replied. He walked in, took one look at my face, and pulled out a chair. What's wrong? I opened my mouth to lie. Then I stopped. Some truths do not get lighter by carrying them alone. I saw your father, I said. He stared at me, waiting for the rest of the sentence. When it did not come, his face changed. That's not funny, he said quietly. I know. I told him everything. Costco, the house, the park. I did not soften it. I did not rush it. I spoke slowly, calmly, letting each word fall where it belonged. By the time I finished, his eyes were wet, but his face was hard. He's alive, he said flatly. Yes. And he let us bury him. Yes. My son stood up and paced the room. I cried at that grave, he said. I carried that coffin. I watched you break. I know, I whispered. Anger rose in him, sharp and sudden. How could he do this? I had no answer that could heal him. He chose a different life, I said. And he chose it without us. My son left that night without hugging me. I did not blame him. Some pain has nowhere to land. A few days later, Denise called. I did not know how she got my number. But when I heard her voice, calm and careful, I understood she had questions too. I didn't know, she said. About you. About any of it. I believe you, I replied. He told me he was widowed, she said. That his wife died years ago. Another lie layered neatly over the last. I need to know, she said. Is everything you told him true? Yes, I answered. Silence stretched between us. My son, she said finally. He calls him Dad. That word landed softly but deeply. I'm not calling to fight, she added. I need to understand the man I married. So do I said. We met a week later at a cafe halfway between our homes. Neutral ground, public, safe. Denise was not what I expected. She was kind, tired, a woman who had built her life on trust, just like I had. When she looked at me, I saw pain that mirrored my own. He never talks about his past, she said. I thought he was protecting himself. He was, I replied. Just not in the way you thought. She folded her hands around her cup. Do you hate him? I thought about that for a long moment. No, I said. I hate what he chose, but I don't hate him. She nodded slowly, like that made sense. He wants to make things right, she said. Some things don't have a right anymore, I replied. That night, I received another letter from Walter. This one longer, pages filled with apology, with explanations, with words that sounded like regret but felt more like relief. He wrote about feeling trapped, about fear, about not knowing how to tell the truth. He never wrote about me. Not really. I folded the letter and placed it back in the envelope without answering. Weeks passed. Life did not stop just because my world had shifted. Bills came. Laundry piled up. Church members asked how I was doing. I smiled and said I was managing. Inside, something hardened. Not into anger, into clarity. One afternoon, I returned to the cemetery. I stood in front of the grave again. The stone still looked beautiful, still carried his name, still marked a place where my grief had lived. I placed my hand on it one last time. You're free now, I whispered. And so am I. I contacted a lawyer, quietly, carefully, not for revenge, for truth, for closure. There were documents to untangle, records to correct, a death that never happened. It was not simple. Nothing about this was. My children struggled. Some days they asked questions. Some days they did not speak about him at all. I let them move at their own pace. One evening, Walter asked to see me again. One last time, I agreed. We met where our life together had started, at a small church parking lot. He looked older than ever, smaller. I don't expect forgiveness, he said. I just wanted to see you. I looked at him calmly. "I see you." "I was afraid," he said. "I didn't know how to be the man you needed anymore." "I needed honesty," I replied. "Not perfection." Tears filled his eyes. "I know. I hope you find peace," I said. "But you won't find it through me." I walked away before he could say anything else. As I drove home, I felt something unfamiliar. Lightness, not happiness. Not yet, but space. Space where grief had lived. Space where truth now settled. The man I married chose to disappear. The woman I became chose to stay. And in that choice, I felt my strength return, quiet and steady. Like a heartbeat I could finally trust again. I went home after that last meeting with Walter and sat in my living room as the evening light faded through the curtains. The house looked the same as it always had, but it no longer felt like a place frozen in mourning. It felt like a place waiting for something new, even if I did not yet know what that something was. For the first time in months, I moved his shoes from by the door. I picked them up slowly, holding them for a moment, remembering how he used to kick them off without looking. I placed them in a box, not with anger, not with ceremony, just with acceptance. Some things are not meant to stay forever. The days that followed were not easy, but they were honest. I stopped pretending that my grief was only about death. I began to see that much of my pain came from betrayal, from being left behind without explanation, from loving someone who chose silence over truth. Naming that pain did not make it disappear, but it made it lighter. My children began to heal in their own ways. My daughter came over one afternoon and sat with me at the kitchen table. We did not talk about her father at first. We talked about small things. The weather, her work, a show she was watching. Then quietly, she reached for my hand. "I'm proud of you, Mama," she said. I looked at her, surprised. "For what?" "For surviving this," she said. "For not letting it break you." Her words stayed with me long after she left. I started walking in the mornings, just around the neighborhood at first, then farther. I noticed things I had not seen before. The sound of birds, the way sunlight rested on rooftops. Life had been happening around me all along. I had simply been too lost to notice. One morning, I ran into a neighbor I barely knew. She smiled and asked how I was doing. For once, I did not say, "Fine." I said, "I'm learning how to be." She smiled back like she understood. The legal matters took time. Correcting records, untangling lies written into official places. It was exhausting, but each step felt like reclaiming a piece of my life. I was no longer carrying a false story. I was telling the truth, even when it was uncomfortable. Denise called me once more during that time. She sounded tired. "I don't know what comes next," she said. "I don't either." I replied honestly. "I wish things had been different," she said. "So do I answered. "But we can only move forward with what we know now." We spoke quietly for a while, two women connected by the same man's choices. Neither of us enemies, neither of us winners. When we hung up, I wished her peace. And I meant it. As weeks turned into months, the sharp edge of my pain softened. Not because I forgot, but because I understood. Walter's disappearance was not about me being unlovable. It was about him being unable to face himself. That truth settled gently into my heart. One Sunday, I returned to church. I had avoided it for a long time. Too many memories, too many prayers whispered beside him. But that morning, I felt ready. I sat in the pew alone. The music rose softly. When the congregation stood to sing, I stood too. My voice was quiet, but it did not shake. During the service, the pastor spoke about endings and beginnings, about how some doors close without warning, but that does not mean the room behind them was empty. It simply means it is time to step into a new one. I cried then. Not from sorrow, From released out after church, an older woman I barely knew hugged me. "You look lighter," she said. "I feel lighter," I replied at home that afternoon. I opened the box with Walter's letters one last time. I read them carefully, without rushing, without searching for what I wished he had said. I accepted them for what they were: explanations, not excuses; regret, not repair. I placed the letters back in the box and closed it. Some stories do not need rewriting. They only need an ending. That night, I sat on my porch and watched the sky darken. The air was warm. Somewhere nearby, a child laughed. Life continued, steady and patient. I thought about the woman I had been 6 months ago, broken, lost, defined by loss. And I thought about the woman sitting there now, scarred, yes, but standing, breathing, still open to life. I did not know what the future would hold. I only knew that it was mine again. I whispered a quiet prayer, not for Walter, not for forgiveness or understanding, but for strength, for clarity, for the courage to keep choosing myself. When I finally went inside, I turned off the light in the living room and paused. For a moment, I imagined what it would feel like to live fully again, to laugh without guilt, to plan without fear, to trust my own voice. That moment felt possible. I lay down to sleep, and for the first time since the funeral, rest came easily. No visions, no questions, just quiet in the morning. Sunlight filled my room. I got up, made coffee, and stood by the window. The day stretched out before me, unclaimed. I realized then that death had not been the end of my marriage. Silence had been, and truth, though painful, had given me something death never could: a beginning. I am Ruth Johnson. I loved deeply. I lost painfully. I survived honestly, and now I live. Sometimes life does not break us loudly. Sometimes it does so quietly, through choices we never see coming. But even then, we are not powerless. We can still choose how we stand up afterward. If there is one thing I have learned, it is this: you cannot control who leaves or how they go, but you can decide what you carry forward. I choose peace. I choose truth. One, choose myself, and that finally is enough.